Tennessee.
Tennessee is correct. Chattanooga and Nashville were the other two. Question 4, science. The test for this parameter measures in minutes per inch of water the speed at which water is absorbed by soil. Webster definitions for this word include gradually spreading and causing a solvent. Franklin Regional.
Percolation.
Percolation is correct. Causing a solvent to pass through a permeable substance, especially for extracting a soluble constituent.
Sue, that was Franklin.
Oh, sorry. I knew Tim, you need to speak up.
What's the problem?
I need you to say 5 points awarded to. That helps me. You know, I got old ears, you got old eyes.
I will announce the winning.
Also, no, I got it here.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
Question 5, Potpourri. In 2020, this family put their Connecticut home up for sale and moved to Los Angeles to pursue the entertainment career there. Franklin Regional.
The D'Amelios.
D'Amelio is correct. Franklin Regional, 5 points.
Thank you.
All right. Give the last name of this family, whose father, Mark, and mother, Heidi, have 2 daughters, one named Dixie and the other who has a Dunkin' Donuts drink named for her called Chuck. Question 6, world history. What New Zealand explorer reached the North Pole after reaching the South Pole and after climbing Mount Everest? Hempfield.
Hillary.
Hillary is correct. That was Hempfield, 5 points.
Thank you.
Question 7, literature. Shakespearean examples of this term might include all the world's a stage, and shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Give the term for this figure of speech. Penn Trafford.
Metaphor.
Metaphor is correct. Speech, a term of speech that 2 things are exactly like each other without using the words as or like, as a simile would. 5 points to Penn Trafford. Question 8, American history. Along with Oregon, it is one of only 2 U.S. states containing an area whose 100-year rainfall rate is less than 1 inch per hour. Natural disasters in this state included the 1898 Chilkoot Trail avalanche, the 2016 Pavlov volcanic eruption, and the 1964 Good Friday earthquake. Hempfield area.
Alaska.
Alaska is correct. Name state that is this country's 48th largest by population, but is number 1 in land area. 5 points to Hempfield. Question 9, science. Credited with coining the word photon and with discovering heavy water and covalent bonds, chemistry concepts named for this man include his acid as an electron pair acceptor and his base. Franklin Regional.
Lewis.
Gilbert Lewis, that is correct. Identify this Berkeley chemist whose namesake structure shows the symbol of a chemical element with dots around it indicating its number of valence electrons. That is 5 points to Franklin Regional. Potpourri. This state that produced more than 1 million barrels of petroleum per day in March 2021 will be unable to produce any from its Chaco Canyon National Historic Park. Penn Trafford.
Texas.
That's incorrect. I'll read again. This state that produced more than 1 million barrels of petroleum per day in March 2021 will be unable to produce any from its Chaco Canyon National Historic Park in the near future because of restrictions by the Biden administration. Name this state whose oil refinery sites include those in Artesia and Gallup, and whose Hempfield.
New Mexico.
New Mexico is correct. Comes mostly from the Permian Basin and it shares with neighboring Texas. 5 points to Hempfield. That takes us to the end of the toss-ups. Go to fanfare. You're on the slates.
Hold
I was
please.
waiting to hear the.
Remember that you have 15 seconds after I finish stating the question.
Yeah, I agree on this.
We're all good?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, timer is 17.
15.
Hold please. We gotta do a little refreshing.
Good.
Thank God you're here.
All right, here we go. Question 1, contemporary events. A 2021 online chess tournament featured 9 teams from countries surrounding this body of water, including Germany, Russia, Finland, and the winner, Sweden. Identify this body of water that also borders Poland, Denmark, and 3 countries, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. Okay, answers up.
The Baltic Sea.
Baltic Sea. Baltic Sea.
Baltic Sea is the winner. 5 points for all 3 teams. Question 2, world history. Name the tribal group that invaded what is now Hungary in the 9th and 10th centuries AD. Time? Answers up.
The Gauls.
Gauls, okay,
Magyars. Kievan Rus.
okay. Can you spell what you wrote there for me? real quick?
Magyars.
Are we in the ballpark on
We're
that?
in the podcast.
Correct answer from Hempfield.
It was like.
It's actually pronounced Magyar.
Okay.
That's the correct answer.
Remembered it with like 1 second.
I said
So I
that,
was like, what job you
but he
remember?
doesn't know.
Because
Okay.
that's their language.
Literature is our third question. You are reading a newspaper and see a word you don't recognize. Even though you may never have seen the word before, you still may be able to figure out what it means by using what concept defined as the other words in the passage that surround the word you don't know. Time? Answers up.
Context clues.
Context. Context.
Credit. All 3 correct answers. Context. 5 points to all 3 teams. Question 4, American history. Congregational minister Thomas Hooker is considered the father of what state for going there in 1636, 3 years before its fundamental orders were written? Time, answers up.
Rhode Island.
Connecticut. Connecticut.
The correct answer is Connecticut. Points go to Hempfield and Penn Trafford. Question 5 is science.
Hold on,
Sure.
what do you have for score?
That's what, thanks, I was trying to figure it out, but I got too confused. 25 Franklin Regional. 35 Hempfield. 35 Penn Trafford.
That, I had clicked the button and it didn't advance, so.
Sorry, I did tally marks, so I have to count by 5, so
That's
then it all got confusing.
Yeah.
Okay, our fifth question, science. This test uses a long needle to withdraw a small amount of pale yellow fluid that contains cells from a developing baby. Give the long name of this test, named partly for that fluid that checks the fluid for possible fetal disorders or defects like spina bifida. Time. Answers up.
The pap smear.
Embryonic fluid biopsy. Spinal tap.
Unfortunately, no, none of those answers are correct. We were looking for amniocentesis.
I guess amniotic.
They haven't had babies.
As soon as they said long needle.
Yes,
Question 6, Potpourri. In music, it is the second note in the A minor chord, as well as the top note in the F minor and F major chords. Which note is the lowest in a triad or major chord that includes E natural and G natural? Answers?
C.
C. C.
Makes my music heart feel fine. C is correct. Points to all three teams.
Seeing is doing one thing.
We all good? All right. We're going to move on to round 2. Any substitutions coming in? Okay. Round 2, back on the buzzers. All good? Here we go. Question number 1, world history. This city was one of its country's Cinque Ports in the Middle Ages, along with Dover and Sandwich. This city's shipwreck museum contains remnants of vessels sunk and trafficked.
Liverpool.
That's incorrect. This city was one of its country's Cinque Ports in the Middle Ages, along with Dover and Sandwich. This city's shipwreck museum contains remnants of vessels sunk in the nearby English Channel. Name this British city where Harold Godwinson, Franklin.
Leicester City.
That's incorrect. Enfield, you're still in it. Here we go again. This city was one of its country's Cinque Ports in the Middle Ages, along with Dover and Sandwich. The city's shipwreck museum contains remnants of vessels sunk in the nearby English Channel. Named this British city where Harold Godwinson lost a 1066 battle that established William the Conqueror as the ruler of England. Enfield?
Hastings.
Hastings is correct. 5 points to him. Literature. Question 2. His nonfiction 1910 book, Queen Victoria's Jubilee, was published just after his death. His other nonfiction writings include Following the Equator, Old Times on the Mississippi, and A Tramp Abroad. Name this American writer whose fiction includes Ben Trafford,
Twain.
Mark Twain, or Samuel Clemens. Also included The Man That Corrupted Hadleyburg, The Prince and the Pauper, and Tom Sawyer Abroad. That's 5 points to Ben Trafford. Question 3, American history. This river's name was used by the largest Union army during the Civil War.
The
Franklin
Potomac.
Regional.
Potomac.
Potomac is correct. For nearly 100 years, the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal operated along this river, whose upper section begins in West Virginia, identifying this river whose lower section forms the border between Maryland and Washington, D.C., and whose tidal section flows to the Chesapeake Bay. That's 5 points to Franklin Regional. Science. This condition, sometimes called Daltonism, for the British scientists that had it and studied it, has types called monochromacy, where you, and Trafford.
Color blindness.
Color blindness is correct, where you see everything in black and white, and trichonomaly, where you can't tell the difference between red and yellow. What condition that affects men more than women also has a type called protanopia, where you can't tell the difference between red and green. Potpourri, question 5. Houses designed in this way may have the disadvantages of less privacy, fewer walls to hang. Van Trafford.
Open concept.
Open concept is correct. Open plan would have also been accepted. Fewer areas that can be closed off to hide mess. Get a 2-word term for this type of home design that often combines the kitchen, dining room, and living room into one great room that allows people to see each other even when in different parts of the main floor. World history. Question 6. Argentina fought a brief war against England for the Falkland Islands in 1982 on the grounds that Argentina inherited them from what country when Argentina became independent? Ben Trafford.
Spain.
Spain is correct. 5 points to Ben Trafford. Question 7, literature. The book series where he appears covers about 40% of his life, mostly as a teenager, though in its epilogue, he is a married adult and has his children, James and Lily. Franklin.
Harry Potter?
Harry Potter is correct. Those are the names of his parents' names of the fictional character whose final book discusses the 3 Deathly Hallows and his ultimate battle with the evil Lord Voldemort. That's 5 points to Franklin. Question 8, American history. For more than 30 years, this lawyer was a federal prosecutor in Connecticut, ending up as the state's U.S. attorney before being asked to resign by Joe Biden. Named as special counsel at the U.S. Department of Justice, who after 2 years of investigation began issuing indictments in the fall of 2021 that are related to Russian involvement in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Franklin Regional.
Robert Mueller.
That's incorrect. Hemphill.
The FBI.
That's incorrect. And Trafford?
Powell.
Incorrect. Correct answer was John Durham. John Durham.
Excellent.
No points on that one. Question 9, science. Types of this concept include conformational, which, Ben Trafford.
Bias.
That's incorrect. Types of this concept include conformational, which can both rotate around a single chemical bond, and stereo, which can differ in how, Franklin.
Isomer.
Isomer is correct. Can differ in how 2 molecules occupy 3-dimensional space. Give this term, whose structural type describes 2 organic compounds with the same molecular formula, but different atomic structures, such as 2-methylpentane and 3-methylpentane. Question 10, Potpourri. Successful coaches of this college's football team have included Bud Wilkinson, who won 47 games in a row, Barry Switzer, who won 2 national championships, and Bob Stoops, who was replaced by Lincoln Riley and then by Brent Venables. Ben Trafford.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma is correct. Named for this, for the moment, member of the college's Big 12 Conference whose schooner mascot is pulled by 2 horses named Boomer and Sooner. That ends our toss-ups.
Could you check Franklin Regional's score?
I'm checking them all right.
Looking right now.
I have the scores as 65, 45, and 45.
Okay.
We're okay? All right. Final fanfare, final 6 questions of the day.
Yes, Gigi and Fricone.
All Here we go, you're back on the slates. Question 1, contemporary events. He joined the U.S. Senate by replacing the late Robert Byrd, and is now considered that body's most conservative Democrat, often teaming with Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema in 2021 to block much of Joe Biden's political agenda. Who is this West Virginia senator? Okay, answers up.
Manchin.
Manchin. Joe Manchin.
All three correct. Joe Manchin. Points go to all three teams. Question 2, world history. From 1956 to 1986, Haiti was controlled by a dictator named Papa Doc, and then by his son, Baby Doc, who shared what last name? Answers up.
Duvalier.
Christophe Papadopoulos.
Duvalier is correct answer. Franklin Regional, 5 points. Question 3, literature. Careful with your printing, make sure it's legible. Okay, just want to be clear on that. All right. As a result of playing Quiz Bowl and learning lots of things, many top players are quite erudite, which Webster defines as having or showing knowledge that is learned by studying. Spell erudite. Okay, I'll ask you to read the spelling out loud. Go.
Erudite.
Erudite. Erudite.
See yours one more time? Okay. All three correct. Thank you very much. 5 points to all three teams. Question 4, American history. What sham construction company, chartered during the presidency of Ulysses S. Grant to build the Union Pacific Railroad, created a scandal when it gave out its profits to its board of directors and shareholders? Ryan, answers?
U.S. Steel.
Pacific. Teapot Dome.
The correct answer here was Credit Mobilier. No points awarded for that one. Question 5, science. If sodium's mass is 23 grams per mole, and chlorine's mass is 13.5 grams.
I wasn't, you didn't read that correctly.
Oh, sorry. Let me start the question over again. Go ahead, clean your slate. What did I say, 13.5? Sorry. Here we go. Ready? If sodium's mass is 23 grams per mole, and chlorine's mass is 35.5 grams per mole, calculate the molarity of a solution that contains 175.5 grams of table salt in 1.5 liters of distilled water. is up.
4.5.
2.
2.5.
2 is the correct answer. And Bill, 5.
Like that looks like 2. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Question 6, the final question of the game. Named from a 19th, this is Potpourri, sorry. Named from a 19th century minstrel show character played in blackface by a white man. What two-word term describes the set of state and local laws passed by Southern Democrats up through the mid-1900s that legalized racial segregation in the South and discriminated against blacks? Question, all right, raise your panels. Answers?
Jim Crow.
Jim Crow.
Jim Crow.
All 3 are correct. 5 points to each team.
That brings us a tie.
Which brings us to a tie.
Brings us to a tie.
Wait a
So
second.
then Sharberg is our clear winner. Congratulations. So what we do is the other 2 teams will do 5 toss-up questions and see if we can get a second and a third place from that. Don't know if you have a way to
I don't know.
project it, so we'll just make sure that we keep it
Score by hand.
Score by hand and record it.
5 questions.
5 questions, yes. In the rules, it's 5 questions, 5 toss-ups.
And then Natalie, whoever, you just get 5 minutes.
5, yes, and then we'll,
So we're doing all 5 questions.
yes, the special tiebreaker round consists of 5 questions, will be immediately held for tied teams. At the end of the round, the quizmaster will announce, "Thank you, this concludes our match." Please hold your seat. We will announce the winners momentarily. But yeah, you need to read that.
We won't make you wait that long.
There is a sudden death then after that, so. Sam.
Game 7, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go to, we have a fair round.
Can I check, you got this, just go through the 8 buzzers again.
Okay.
You guys can just
Do it again. 3. Oh wait, we'll come back. 3. Okay.
We're all good?
Yep, all good.
Okay, 5 questions. Here we go. This is world history, question 1. The People's Liberation Front in this country's northernmost region of Tigray is at war with its federal government, leading to near famine near its border with Eritrea. Name this African country whose Haile Selassie University, named for its former ruler, Hemphill.
Ethiopia.
Ethiopia is correct. Located in the capital of Addis Ababa.
Look at the start.
Question 2, literature. In the title of a Raymond Chandler story, this object is a nuisance. In a Scott Odell novel, this gem is black, not white, and is thought of as heavenly. A Tracy Chevalier novel tells how Vermeer's most famous painting might have been created, which features a girl wearing one of these. Franklin.
Diamonds?
Diamond is incorrect. I'll read the question again. In the title of the Raymond Chandler story, this object is a nuisance. In a Scott Odell novel, this gem is black, not white, and this thought of as heavenly. The Tracy Chevalier novel tells how Vermeer's most famous painting might have been created, which features a girl wearing one of these gems as an earring. Hemphill.
Pearl.
Pearl is correct. 5 points to Hemphill. So that's 5 each. Is that right? 5 each. So take it this way.
I think we'll get to the end of the 5.
We run all 5.
We run all 5 because it's not considered secondary.
Gotcha. Question 3, American history. This position was once considered a stepping stone to the presidency, as 5 of the first 8 U.S. presidents held this position first. But since Martin Van Buren in 1831, only James Buchanan has become president after holding this post, a point weighing against Hillary Clinton. Penfield.
Secretary of State.
Secretary of State is correct. Question 4, science. This animal is found in the wild only on the Lesser Sunda Islands of Indonesia, where it flicks its yellow tongue in and out and eats larger animals like deer and pigs. Penfield.
Komodo dragon.
Komodo dragon is correct. Potpourri, question 5, the final question. This brand name is scheduled for production after more than a decade of shutdown while General Motors figured out what to do with it. AM General first built this model, and General Motors now plans to make 2 versions of it, standard and electric. Identify this make of SUV whose name is an acronym of its original military concept. Franklin.
Hummer.
Hummer is correct. Correct answer, you avoided a clean sweep. However, our winner in that round was Penfield. So congratulations. Second place finish, thank you. And congrats to everybody on an excellent game and a great day here. We appreciate it all. And how about a hand for all the folks?
If the advisors and the other students want to get up with the tables, we'll take some pictures and give you your awards.
Great round, guys. Those were really good.
Excellent.
Did very well.
It's the best match of the day.
Please see you. I would like to first present to Franklin Regional because we were delayed in getting the plaque to you during COVID. Second place in 2021. So congratulations. Oh, cool. Okay, thank you. Yes. Why don't you, would you present and I'll take pictures? Let's go to our first place.
You're our what do you call it, MC.
All right, I can't talk. All right.
All right, let's go down to first place. Congratulations. Okay, I'll present. Well, we gotta get her in the picture. She's such a hard working advisor for you guys.
No, get in there. Get in there.
Here, would you like to hold it?
All right. Ready? Yeah. Nice job. Congratulations.
We one of really has to go.
Oh, yes, let's go. All right, let's go to number 2.
Sorry.
Here.
Sorry, guys. I don't worry.
No, our van,
Yes.
I just texted her.
All right.
Second
place.
No, wait, there's second.
I was rushing.
Yeah, sorry.
Trying to get you
That's
out
my
of here. Second place. And you are?
Get to that and take pictures.
Be like a little like.
Congratulations. Yeah, one.
We can just hold it Thank you.
So we don't finger it all up.
You can just go.
Yeah, well, we have